working. Okay, I'm not sure how it's working, but it appears to be working. So I'm going to shut this stuff down. So here's what I'm doing. I'm doing a thing on the book of, no, I'm not on the book of Revelation. What I'm doing here, I was inspired to do a strong concordance study or research on the numbers 9/11. Many times I've been led to look up 9/11 in the Bible. All right. One of the things is, so about 9/11, right? 9/11 here. 9/11. Many of you remember. September 11th attacks, also called the 9/11 attacks, a series of airline hijackings and suicide attacks committed in 2001 by 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda against targets in the United States, the deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil in U.S. history. Excuse me. The attacks against New York City and Washington, D.C. caused extensive death and destruction. These are their words, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, and triggered an enormous U.S. effort to combat terrorism. Some 2,750 people were killed in New York and 184 at the Pentagon and 40 in Pennsylvania, where one of the hijacked planes crashed after the passengers attempted to retake the plane. All 19 terrorists. Police and fire departments in New York were especially hard hit. Hundreds had rushed to the scene of the attacks, and more than 400 police officers and firefighters were killed. As many of you remember, our entire country changed that day. Basically, everything changed after that, and it's been a long downhill slope. I guess things are always changing, but it was a very significant turning point in our history. So, oh look, this even has a plot. The September 11th attacks were precipitated in large part because of Osama bin Laden, the mastermind, right? Anyways, enough of that. So what I did for this first time, I looked up in the Strong's Concordance 9/11. And in the Strong Concordance in the Greek for the number 9/11 is the word bapto. And the word bapto, by definition, it's a verb, transliteration, bapto, phonetic spelling, B-A-P-T-O. Definition: to dip. Usage: A, I dip. B, I die. D-Y-E. But die nonetheless. A lot of people died on 9/11, but that's not why I'm bringing that up with the 9/11 bapto. Bapto, to dip or to die. And in Luke, so there's occurrences here, right? So in the NAS exhaustive concordance, it seems like there's 4 occurrences here. We've got Strong's Greek Concordance, 4 occurrences. And first occurrence is here in Luke 16:24, that he may dip the tip. So Luke 16:24 here. And he cried out and said, Father Abraham. Oops. And he cried. Dang it, that's not what I want to do. And he cried out, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. So it's a reference to Abraham and a reference to Lazarus and a reference to this rich man. This is the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. So what I'm going to read it to you. And it's funny because it starts here in chapter 16 of Luke, and it's verse 19. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked the sores. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. So Lazarus is a poor guy with the sores, and he's with Abraham, and the rich man is in hell. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in the water, and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. Then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. And Abraham saith unto him, They have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. And he said, Nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And he said unto him, If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. And that's ironic, because the one that rose from the dead is Jesus. And if you aren't persuaded by Moses and the prophets, neither will you be persuaded by Jesus to repent. That's an interesting parable. And it's also interesting because on September 11th, 9/11, right, where this word baptos shows up, it starts in the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, and that is verse 19, and there was 19 hijackers that day. I got a footnote here, 11:6:1. That's also kind of interesting because it almost got a mirror image minus the 1 of a 9/11. So, and the reference to Lazarus and the reference to Abraham in the same parable is quite amazing, because as you'll see, this isn't the first or the only time that we're going to have a reference in this study to Abraham or Lazarus. And in fact, we're going to find two different Lazaruses in the Gospels through this concordance search. And you're also going to see this dichotomy between these two parallels between Jesus and salvation and bapto, and what bapto really means, which is to be baptized, to be dipped. And you're going to see a lot of correlations between words in this study. And part of that makes it interesting is because when was the Bible reference coded? Sorry. And it was reference coded, wrong one. That is not the right search. When was the Bible reference codes? Given concordance. No, I am not finding it. I looked it up earlier. I can't remember what I searched. Where assigned numbers in the Bible. (1551) is when it was assigned. Robert Estienne, aka Stephanus, Robertus Stephanus. This guy did it. Oh, we don't even get a picture of him? Oh, come on. Come on. Hmm. 1551. Huh. There were some other interesting things about that. But this is not what I found earlier, and I'm not going to spend any more time on that. But the reference codes weren't given until 1551 by Robert Estienne. My point of telling you this, but yet they reveal a code that existed in the Bible that was written by so many different authors over a period of time. How could they have known that this? How could they have put the code in it when these verses and chapters weren't even numbered until 1551? And it's uncanny. So I got to get back to where we were at. So that's pretty good. So Luke, for the bapto, that he may dip. Then John in 13:26. KJV, John 13:26. And that's where Jesus predicts his betrayal. And here in 26, he says, Jesus answered, oh Lord, Why can't I just... No, there we go. Jesus answered, He it is to whom I shall give sop when I have dipped it. And when he had dipped it, the sop, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. And that's when, after the sop, Satan entered into him. Then said Jesus unto him, that thou doest do quickly. Now no man at the table knew for what intent he spake this unto him. For some of them thought, because Judas had the bag, that Jesus had said unto him, buy those things that we have need of against the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. He that then, having received the sop, went immediately out, and it was night. All right. So Jesus predicts his betrayal. There's we're in John 13. John 13. 13 is the number of dead. Death, resurrection, and redemption. Also rebellion. So, quite fitting. Jesus, this is the point when Jesus was troubled in spirit and testified, verily, verily, I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And that's the second use of this bapto. And